But who has the power? That's what you always have to think about too, I think, when you're selling. Who has the power here? And the power really is in the companies that they're providing financing to. Because those companies are the ones that it's their customers, it's their volume, right? And they're handing this over to these lenders. So if we just go to the big enterprises who own the volume and the actual customers that the lenders are leveraging and ask them what they want, they'll tell us, we want a multi-lender platform. We want to streamline all of this, right? We want everything in one place. And so we just built to what they want and knew that the lenders would have to come along.
Welcome to Humans of FinTech, the show where we get very real about the people building the future of finance. I'm your host, Nicole Casperson, and today I am hanging out with Luan Cox, the president and CEO of FinMkt's. And over the course of her career, she has built and scaled multiple tech companies to successful exits, including Quote.com, StockPoint, and Interactive Data Managed Solutions. She has helped build the pipes behind modern financial services, often years before the market realized it needed them. She's also a longtime mentor and leader within Springboard Enterprises, supporting the next generation of women founders building in fintech and beyond. Luan has been recognized for many awards, from Inc.'s Female Founders 200 to Forbes 50 over 50, and most recently, FinMkt's Innovator of the Year at the Femmys. But what I admire most about Luan is the way she thinks about innovation, not as hype, but as patience and conviction. She builds for where the market is going, not where it is. Luan, welcome to Humans of FinTech.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Let's talk about your win, because this season of Humans of FinTech is all about the winner's circle, and you are coming off a Femmy's win as Innovator of the Year. At the Femmys, you shared a story about your mom and your family immigrating to the US and how you picked up a tennis racket at a really young age. Tell us a little bit about that initial journey and maybe how some of that early competitive experience shaped the way you approach building companies today.
Sure. Yes. So I had the good fortune of having a father who worked in the country club business when we came here from Vietnam. And I went to summer camp and they had tennis and swimming and other things. And I just, on day one, was like, it's tennis. So I realized at a very young age that I'm like a tunnel vision kind of person. So I began playing tennis when I was 5, was nationally ranked, and then burnt out by 17. Every day I went to school. I worked out for 4 hours. On the weekends, traveled. So it was a full-on job. And yes, to wake up at 17 and be like, where's my career? I thought I had this nailed at 5, was a little, obviously, disturbing. So I found a new career, and that's where I am now. I have 2 careers, tennis and fintech. But yeah, I mean, tennis, I know some venture capitalists who actually won't even invest in companies unless the leader is either from the military or
an athlete.
Wow. Yeah.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
Yes, because of the discipline. But tennis specifically, it's a solo sport, and it's all about mental toughness. I mean, in tennis, most of the athletes, their bodies are the same. They work out and work is just as hard, but it's up here. And no one, when you're 10 years old at a nationals tennis tournament in California by yourself is going to come and save you on the court. Right. And so it teaches you to forget your losses really quickly. I think some people call it goldfishing. Right? Like a goldfish forgets things really quickly.
I like that.
Yes,
okay.
But you have to literally forget your loss, that you lost the last point and start a new point, right? And then also solve problems in real time. Like you have to readjust for that next point. All of these things sound like exactly what you need to be a good leader and a good founder, right? Right. Never give up. Believe in yourself. Forget the past, which could be a minute ago, and find the solution to the problem now.
Yes.
Right. And then do it again in 5 more minutes.
I mean, describing the founder journey in question 1 so eloquently. But so that also means you're basically Alyssa Liu, the Olympic.
Oh, wow. I wish I was. But yes.
In a similar vein, right?
Similar,
because she had I feel like that's a common story of, working young, having to deal with that at a young age, burning out, and then figuring out your second act.
Yes.
So at an early age, how does fintech come up?
How did it come up?
How did it come up?
So, when you're used to having, and you're you're the kind of person I am, focused and dedication to one thing. I had to find something quickly, and I literally went to the movie theater and went to see the movie Wall Street. This is a true story, and I was like, "Wow, this looks really exciting. This looks interesting. I'm going to do that." And that was it.
I love that. No, honestly, I was radicalized by Michael Lewis's The Big Short. That's how
you got
content,
into
narrative stories.
Yeah.
Good or bad. It I was like, what is this world? I have to get in on this.
That's exactly how I felt when I walked out of the movie theater. And then I decided, okay, what do you have to do? You have to study finance. And so I did. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to be a stockbroker. So that's what I tried to do in 1992. And I ended up becoming a financial advisor selling life insurance because there weren't a lot of stock brokerage jobs in 1992. So yeah, that was all. And then, fintech grabbed me in the mid 90s. Right. I graduated college in 92 and I was in fintech by 95.
Right in time for the internet.
Yes, exactly.
Right in time for, what was it, Wells Fargo in 1994?
We had AOL, CompuServe, and then still.
That started the internet banking, essentially,
yes.
Right? Or being able to even access your bank account online in any capacity, I think was around that exact same time.
Yes.
That's fascinating. You told the story of selling the life insurance while at the Femmy's. I'm gonna have you retell it just because it's so good. Talk to me about, because you were through and through, you're like a sales shark, and I love it. I want to learn more to be like you.
Well, thank you for that great compliment. Yes, so I had the good fortune of being hired by Jefferson Pilot, which at the time was a top 10 life insurance company in the United States. And my, there's no commission, you just get a little draw. But my sales manager who hired me taught me everything I know, and he's still today, and he's my insurance agent, Patrick Cloutier.
Wow.
But he taught me everything, and the most important thing was to listen. But obviously, at 21 and needing to make a living selling life insurance and annuities was a little daunting. But I also was like, if he believes in me, I can do this.
Yeah.
And this means you have to find your own leads. Do your own proposals. We had mail. We didn't do anything through the internet. It was all paper. So my idea was then I'll just go where my friends are going, which were bars in Texas. I mean, we were 21. We just all graduated from college. We got our first jobs. We're going to go to the bar as much as possible because we have money now, or they did. I barely did.
I had adult money for my own drinks.
Exactly. And so, but this is all, I didn't know people who actually needed life insurance at that moment. But the reality is I thought about it. I thought they actually do. And when I learned more about how life insurance works from a financial perspective, it's more expensive if you buy it when you're older, right? And I don't know how much you know about life insurance, but there's whole life policies in term. Whole life policy is like buying a policy and you're set for life. Okay. So anyway, I would be at bars. I would ask to meet a friend from college who's now making some money, and we'd sit and he or she may be not knowing what's going to happen, but I would be there in my suit and my briefcase, and we'd order our tequilas, and I would say, what are you doing? What am I? Well, I tell them I sell life insurance, and what I would ask them is, have you thought about it? Have you thought about buying life insurance? And of course, the answer would be no. Not at all. I mean, I'm still having fun, and I realized that I only needed to ask really one question which was, do you ever plan on getting married, plan on having a family one day? And there's no 21-year-old that's going to say no to that, really.
Yeah,
not back then, at least.
And especially in Texas.
Especially in Texas in the 90s, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. They're going to, the answer was, of course I am.
I'm getting married.
Of course I'm getting married. Yeah. And I came prepared, because being a great salesperson also means preparing. So I would have two proposals. I would have one proposal for whole life insurance if they bought it today. And when I mean today, I mean at the bar tonight. Or if they waited until, when do you think you're going to get married? Oh, probably, 28, 29, 30. Perfect. This is what it's going to cost you if you wait till then. And it's literally 10 times. So it's a no-brainer, you know? And then, so it's like $50 a month now or $500 a month later. And that just worked. And I ended up making President's Club my first year, which is the top 2% of all salespeople. So here I am at 22 in Doral playing golf with like 50-year-old life insurance men.
I love it.
Going deep sea fishing and stuff. But
Wow.
but yeah, and that was kind of how I learned I learned that you don't sell a product. You know, you got to focus on the problem. And here the problem, or what I needed to impress upon these people, is that of course you're going to want to take care of your family one day.
Right.
Right. And I have the solution. Luckily you know me.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
so
That's I mean, it's kind of the nailing the story, if you will, right? Like,
yes.
A common saying we have here at Fintech FM is that narratives open wallets. And I actually can't totally take credit for that. I have to give some of that credit to Lule de Messe, who was, I think, the first person I heard say that, who you met at the Femmy's. And it really just stuck with me, because that's kind of what all of this is, even like getting people to better understand fintech and its role in our culture and our society, which is something that you had to, I guess, kind of reckon with really early on, in terms of, you know, how do you jumped into the internet investing era.
Yes.
When the internet is just coming about. So not only are people not sure about the internet, but how in the world are they going to be sure about money movement with the internet?
Yes.
So like,
yes.
how do you see a shift before others, I guess? Because you're always thinking 5 steps ahead.
Well, so I'm always looking out for gaps. Because the technology is always going to be there, regardless of what state we are in terms of technology. But if you see businesses or consumers struggling with anything, right, and a way of doing things that's been around for a while, the only thing that's not connecting them is technology. I mean, it's really kind of that simple, right? And if you're always listening for that, then you're able to see problems today, problems into the future. And if you think about like the online investing world, which was born in the 90s, really, well, if you look back, E-Trade kind of launched it in the 80s, but you know, the internet was just another form of media, right? It was the evolution of media, right? From television to internet, so newspapers, and people were consuming financial market data since the stock market opened, right? You know, the ticker tape went from ticker tape in a machine and to newspapers reading it, you know, days later, to television where they'd watch the nightly news and see what thing, right? So the internet was, I mean, obvious. Like now we can actually see this in real time, right? So we had to convince also the stock exchanges to give us feeds too. That's a whole nother conversation. But to me, it was like, of course people are going to consume this. And at that time too, you know, people were calling their stockbrokers still to see what IBM was trading at.
Yes.
And we figured out that cost the brokerage firm like $150 for the person to answer and say, you know, it's trading at 200, buy, right? So all these things, it's like, this is silly. And now we have this technology, it's new, but we can like display a stock quote and person could just type it in, right? And then when E-Trade and Schwab and Fidelity launched and decided they were going to allow self-directed investing, they needed content for people to trade on. So it's like it all came about, and they called me and said, you know, because I was writing biz dev at quote.com, and said, we want to give you our logo, our navigation, our look and feel, and we'll pay you a bunch of money each month. And now we call that SaaS. Yeah. But, you know, back then we were like, cool, yeah, let's do that, right? And we called it, I think in our contracts with them, financial applications licensing or something. Yeah. But it was a SaaS fee.
I mean, so an early pioneer of SaaS, not before even knowing that would become like a term or a thing. And I guess to take a little bit of a step back, how did, I almost am like, I know you said it was for another story. How did you convince the NASDAQs of the world to give you that data and make this a better play for them and everyone involved?
Well, you know, we did it in sort of partnership with the online trading firms, right? Because of course, the exchanges want more volume and online trading would help affect that. And they needed to provide more data so that people could make informed decisions, right? So it was kind of like everybody kind of had to get together and say, okay,
Fine.
right, exactly.
We'll work together.
Exactly. Now, all right, you're right. Okay,
Right.
you know.
How did they know to call you?
We called them.
Oh. I was like, wait, how'd Nasdaq
Yeah, no,
find
we had to
Luan?
work very closely with all the exchanges. And then and there's not just stock exchanges, but also options and commodities, right? It just grew and grew and grew. And then it becomes an issue of latency on the internet, right? Then we had to focus on how do we get this data to these people from the exchanges to their desktops faster than what the brokerage is, or as fast at least as what the brokers are seeing on Wall Street, right? So then that's when you get into a whole nother part of the technology.
Right.
It was also another revenue stream for them. You know, the exchanges make just as much money on data today, right? Reselling our data to others as they do actual transactions. So, you know, we sort of showed them that too, that this is actually going to be a moneymaker for you as well, in addition to the transactions.
How many times did you have to hear no first on this idea? The idea of being
Which
able
idea?
to...
They're all no. They're all, and then it's always
the content for online trading, and then everything else. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's always going to be no. If you think about fintech, the history of fintech, let's say, you know, with online trading, when the incumbents say no, and they have all along the way from online trading to, let's go back further. Credit cards, everybody, ATM machines. Barclays was the first to do, have an ATM machine. Everybody thought they were crazy. So everybody's always going to say, has always said no to anything in our financial infrastructure.
They do kind of do that.
Yeah, because they're scared. And you know, fintech is an interesting word now because, you know, back there was a long period of time where this concept of buy versus build, before we had the word fintech, was around, where banks and brokerages would actually, and then there were fintech companies who actually built it all. There was like years where we would be selling against buy versus build, where the banks actually thought that they could build this technology themselves, or the brokerage firms, faster than we could, right? And so our sales pitches, unfortunately, we would be selling to the very people we were disintermediating, you know, in the IT departments, right? So what would they say? They would, when we'd send our proposal, they would say, no, we don't need them. We can do it ourselves, right? So that, and then it just flipped where it's like, buy versus build, you don't even hear that anymore. It's just outsourced to fintech.
Yeah, of course. Because that's the quickest path, because the legacy institutions, Rails, were not built. They did not predict the internet when they were building their infrastructure, right? And and to overhaul it themselves is an insane endeavor. So thus fintech.
Everything.
Fintech,
there are
everything.
mainframes, so it went from mainframes to the internet. Overnight.
I think as a founder myself, something that's sticking out to me is just like, I've had that insecurity where I'm like, I know I have this amazing thing, this unique product that is a disruptor and has all this value, and I can show you every bit of it, right? Exactly like what you're saying. But then sometimes I have that's like, especially at the beginning, less now, but at the start of Fintech is Femme, some of my insecurity was like, but if they can do it themselves, why would they want me to do it, right? Like, why would they want my content, right? It's in a similar vein. You know, but it's been interesting to just kind of keep at it, and then seeing the evolution of how content and community and events are happening in our spaces, and how more independent creators or journalists are like taking up space, right? In it. So I can relate to that. But I also feel like you just have a lot of founder knowledge in that, and kind of working through that headspace of not being insecure because the bigger institution, how can I compete with them if they are able to, if you don't know that they're able to overhaul their product even though they're not, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah.
Like, you don't know totally, or you know what's happening, but you don't know what they're thinking.
Right. Well, I think that there is a certain stubbornness and naivete that comes with being a good founder, right? Same thing with you. You had that little bit of insecurity for a moment, but you soon realized that you were creating a niche product in a huge market, right? So kudos to you, right? And maybe they could do it. Everybody can do anything, right?
Of course.
It's the level of which and the depth of which, right? It's like,
and how much do they want it? Yeah.
Right. So yeah, maybe one media outlet could have, a few stories, a few things there, or you can go, or someone like you, and you're the only one who's doing it this can go deep. And so, but first you have to recognize there's a need, which you did, and there's an absolute need. And now you're going to be the best at it, or are you going to be mediocre, right? And how deep can it go as far as like expanding your business over time? So that's the same thing for a fintech founder too. It's really about seeing that. Oh no, the maths. There is a need here.
Yes.
People aren't seeing it yet, but that always happens. But as long as you can like sit down and hand on heart, be like, no, there's a problem here that needs to be solved. Nobody is solving it. Why don't I solve it? Right. And it starts that way. And then you just never stop. You just never give up.
Yeah.
Right? You just can't give up.
Yeah.
I mean, it can take a long time or I really don't believe that there is no overnight success.
No.
In life.
No.
Right. Looks like it sometimes.
It looks like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, as fintech as FEM has grown, it's kind of happening a little bit to me, right? Like people being like, I feel like you came out of nowhere. And I'm like, I don't.
Exactly. Right. Right.
I'm sure you feel the same way. I know. Well, luckily for us, with all of the amazing Asian excellence that we deliver and are around us, mediocrity is not even on the table for us. When was the moment that you felt like your overnight success was finally there? Do you have that moment?
Well, I mean, with all the companies that I've built, I won't say there's ever been an overnight moment, but there has been a moment where it's like you have your aha moment, and then the moment that everybody else gets your aha moment. And so you get your aha moment really early, and you're trying to raise money and get people to come work for you, and you're like building stuff and breaking stuff, and then. But at every turn, at every one of the companies that I've built, and FinMkt included, there is a moment where the people that you were pitching turn around and tell you basically, you're right. Uncle, we give you're right. You're right. We need you.
Ooh,
yeah.
That must have felt good.
Yes, and we're going through that now with FinMkt and our multi-lender platform and all this other cool stuff we're doing. Like all these lenders that told us we were not needed. Like no one will ever work with you, and we kind of are dependent on those lenders. So if they don't,
kind of the whole point of sale,
multi-lender point of sale, we need the lenders.
Yeah,
and they all said, pound sand for years.
Nuts, honestly.
Yes, but we realized there's a reason why they're saying no. It's because it commoditizes them, unfortunately. It lowers their profits because they're competing now in one platform against each other, right? When I realized all that, I'm like, of course they're going to say no. Of course, they're going to dig their heels as long as possible. But who has the power? That's what you always have to think about too, I think, when you're selling. Who has the power here? And the power really is in the companies that they're providing financing to. Because those companies are the ones that it's their customers, it's their volume, right? And they're handing this over to these lenders. So if we just go to the big enterprises who own the volume and the actual customers that the lenders are leveraging and ask them what they want, they'll tell us, we want a multi-lender platform. We want to streamline all of this, right? We want everything in one place. And so we just built to what they want and knew that the lenders would have to come along.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. So find out who holds the power.
Yeah.
Essentially, and build in that realm, because eventually the people digging their heels in are going to have to follow suit, right?
Yes. And also some people companies who actually have power don't know it. So with technology, we can actually go to them and say, you don't have to take that anymore.
Yeah.
They don't get to rule your life.
Yeah.
We're going to empower you. That we like those words, empower, enable, right? With technology to take control of your own destiny. And you tell them how it is.
Yes.
Right?
That is something I'm learning. So I've learned that being the CEO of a company, this is my first CEO role. I know.
You're doing a great job.
It seems shocking. Thank you.
Not shocking at all.
Just kidding. And I've learned that CEO is also like a fancy title for just like, chief sales officer. And right. And that's always like a thing, right? As a founder, you you are the one that's who else is going to sell your product better than you until, eventually you grow and have, 160 people under your belt like you, which one day, right, guys? To put a bow on it, obsessed with the way that you've been able to see ahead of time, obsessed with the way that you've learned to, tell people what they need even before they realize it, and then just kind of running with that and saying, hey, I'm just going to hang out until you come along for the journey.
Yeah. Build, get patents,
Yeah. Build.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Build, sell, stall when you need to. Right.
Raise money.
Hey, listeners, I want to take a moment to share some really exciting news. Now, for the first time ever, Humans of Fintech is hosting the premier podcast booth at Fintech Meetup on the showroom floor in Las Vegas. If you don't know what Fintech Meetup is, it is where the fintech industry actually does business. This isn't just another conference. Fintech Meetup brings together leaders from banks, fintechs, credit unions, and investing firms for 50,000 one-to-one meetings designed to drive real partnerships and real ROI. And this year, we're spotlighting the humans behind the headlines. So, in partnership with Fintech Meetup, we are launching a special nomination contest for the Fintech is Femme community. Here is how it works. First, nominate yourself or a colleague to be featured in a live recording of Humans of Fintech on the Fintech Meetup show floor. And all nominees will receive discounted Fintech Meetup tickets, plus 2 winners, the nominator and the nominee, will receive free VIP tickets to Fintech Meetup, which is worth so much value. And the selected nominee will also record a live podcast episode with me, Nicole Casperson, and be able to share their stories and insights distributed across the Humans of Fintech network of 100,000 fintech leaders. So if you are ready to step into the spotlight, be sure to nominate now and lock in your spot. There's a link in the description to nominate, but the landing page is fintechmeetup.com/page/winners-circle. And remember, fintech is built by humans, and their stories deserve the mic. So if you're ready to join Fintech Meetup, be sure to nominate, and I'll see you on the show floor in Las Vegas. All right. Let's get back to the episode. I want to talk about Springboard Enterprises because now in a amazing turn of an events, we get to work together by building out Springboard's first ever fintech cohort, which will bring together an accelerator for women in fintech. You wrote a brilliant almost like a white paper, if you will, piece of research, making the case for why this accelerator needed to happen. Can you share a little bit about your journey with Springboard and why now, all these years later, you feel so passionate about creating this fintech cohort?
Sure. Well, I mean, when I first met Kay Koplovitz 10 years ago, who is an American institution, the founder of Springboard and the founder of USA Networks and Sci-Fi Channel and a million other things. I mean,
and the first woman to run a television network.
Yes, exactly. Amazing. She's always been a mentor of mine. We actually were a Springboard company, accelerated company, along with Canva and Zipcar and iRobot.
A few places.
But yeah, so I was an advisor, and I've always just loved Springboard. I gave them warrants in our company, but it's really Kay. I mean, Kay came to me and about a year ago and said, "You got to help me. We got to get a fintech cohort going here." You know, 85% of household consumer spending is controlled by women, right? $32 trillion in the world is controlled by women. 70% of the financial decisions, 80% of the home improvement decisions controlled by women, and women get less than 3% of the venture capital. And they've never had, Springboard is amazing, but has never had a fintech accelerator program. So I said, of course, anything for you. Yeah. And you're exactly right, because I know what it feels like to try to raise money. So so we've got to find you and Anton and a handful of other female fintech leaders, and we are now trying to, or we are, I don't like that word, try.
I know, I'm with you. We are
currently raising our kind of foundational anchor partnerships and sponsorship money. And hopefully we can launch, by the end of this year. But Springboard is the first female accelerator. It's been around for 25 plus years. Kay was the pioneer of we need money and so it's only natural that they would have the leading female fintech program. Yeah. So I'm really excited to build it with you and Anton and Kay and our other team members.
I know.
And anybody else who wants to join. We have plenty of room.
It comes at such an amazing time. Anton and I have always said that in a way, a part of Fintech is Femme is truly minting more female founders in fintech, right? Through the storytelling. I've had women of all backgrounds, ages, and, coming from large institutions, small institutions, what have you, tell me reading Fintech is Femme or seeing an interview like this or just hearing from someone like yourself made them either, quit their job or finally do the thing and say, you know what, I'm going to finally build in fintech. And I think that's really powerful. So I think between like you and Kay's just like strength as founders who have built these amazing companies, these category defining companies, and with these exits and continue to pay it forward, and then our media and what we can do, I think that we're finally, it's like the marriage is there to finally create more women in fintech. And I think, for me, a part of that, what that is so special is to be able to mint more Luan Coxes, because you have, as you shared, women burn less cash. They generate more revenue. They're just generally more efficient investments.
Yes.
Right? You've raised 15 million.
We have only raised 15 million since our birth. And are profitable. Inc. 5000 company, don't need another penny, won't need another penny. And have plenty of cash in the bank.
That's hot.
Yeah. So, an exit for us looks really nice for our investors, right? I'm just blown away when I see these capital raises. Like, I talked to a bank who wanted me to advise a neobank, and I won't name the name. But when they wanted me to help them raise another round, and when I asked them what their burn rate was, the CEO, a male, and nice smart guy, without even like blinking, was like $1 million a month. And I'm like,
ooh, it actually created
with almost no revenue too. But it's a bank, and they have to, it's a neobank, and not in the United States. I won't. But yeah, I'm like, yeah, I can't even, like, how can that ever be okay in any world, So like, yes, we had to bite, scratch, and plead for the $15 million and execute all along the way. And we have the best investors. FinTech Capital is in Nashville is one of our biggest investors, and so is Manchester Story Group, who invested me in my earlier companies. But women are unfortunately forced to be capital efficient, and we're already, we are already great operators, great leaders, and we do it a different way, obviously, right? Women are women can multitask better. I mean, it's no offense, right? We are able to multitask better. I think it's scientifically proven.
Yes.
And then we lead in a different way. It's not, so this is why we have the bottom line results. But, having to be capital efficient makes us have to perform even at a higher level. Yes. But, I don't know that that's okay, because what if we didn't have to,
what would it look like if we didn't have to?
Exactly, right? Because if you accept that we already are great at execution, which it has been proven, right? If you maybe give us some more capital, what could we do? Right? So we're just having to do this because we're getting this much of the money out there.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I know for a fact if I flipped it and I made my co-founder, who's our CTO, CEO, or I made my CFO, CEO, even though they're not as, quite frankly, good at sales than I am, and that wasn't their vision.
Right. You're the founder.
But if they were sitting at the head of the table, it could have been different. Unfortunately, it is different. Right. So we need to flip that. We need to And it's not going to be easy. And that's why we have to, I'm so excited about Springboard. I'm so excited about what you're doing, because also in fintech specifically, unlike in any other industries, the fin part is already male dominated.
Yes.
The tech part is already male dominated, right?
Yes.
So the women that we're getting, we're getting them from banks. We're getting, they have to have the courage to break out of that, take two male dominated industries, put it together and kill it. Right?
Oh my gosh. I write it. You're gonna love the book. You're gonna love my book. That's essentially, I create like a whole thesis around the crazy opportunity to have exactly that.
Yeah.
It's crazy you pulled that out without reading my book yet. Like people, it's the osmosis is happening while it's sitting here with us with your award. But exactly, like if we can just kind of, what happens when we create more versions of the women that are already extracting themselves from two sides of the industry, coming together and saying, because you'll see the pattern in the book. Majority of the women either came from Wall Street or they come from Silicon Valley. They said, ugh, no, and I can do this better. And then they go off and they do it better. I imagine a lot like Luan Cox.
Yes, exactly like Luan Cox.
We're going to create more of you and more Kate Koplowitz's.
And we need to get them capital and encouragement. And, there's a lot that goes along with, we have to rewire too.
I think we have to build the infrastructure.
Yes.
Because honestly, over the last 10 years of my reporting, I've been writing about the same thing over and over to the point where I had to leave traditional media and say, I need to write a new story because traditional media is not going to let me write that new story. They're going to keep me doing the same thing, which is women are over here doing their thing over here. And then the men play the main stage and get covers. Yeah. Right. And it's like, or you could have women on the cover at any time of any month of any day because they're profitable. Right. Yeah. And not burning $1 million a month.
Yes.
Just cause to look good.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I'm really, really excited about that. I'm excited about the part where I really wanted to focus more on the solutions than continuously like hammering in this like 2% number, which we can't ignore and is very real. But this is what the accelerator does. I know this is what the accelerator does is it actually enables us to
let's
create real solutions.
Let's not focus on that problem. Let's create the solution.
Let's create solutions. Yeah. I love that about us. Now, I'm going to ask a few closing questions and rapid fire questions as we end this fabulous discussion today. You have spent decades building infrastructure for the financial system. What keeps you excited about fintech today?
And it's no surprise, I have really been in embedded finance before that was a thing.
You were in fintech before it was a thing.
I was in fintech and then embedded, right? And that's what we do now, embedded lending. So I think the marriage of embedded finance with AI is really exciting, where AI comes from the back, comes out of the back office and into the front, and in the lending space, making autonomous, sort of decisions where at the point of sale, everyone has, access to credit in real time without asking, so there's a lot of cool things, I think, but the marriage of that. And, I really, I believe, and we're seeing it now with our company, when you provide embedded finance solutions, you're providing them to corporations, to, some fintech, like I'm a firm believer in not being a fintech that sells to other fintechs, because I don't want my business to be around. And we have too many, I want to sell to the companies that have been around for 100 years and I want to make them fintechs. Yeah. And so that's what really embedded finance is about, right? And so there's a whole, AI plus that, and then going after the old school companies that don't realize that they have the power, and you make them into fintechs. That's huge.
All right, so Luan's out here making everyone fintech. The empire continues. And they're gonna have to change the name of loans. You know that. Instead, I know that. You were Luan Cox. I think they're gonna have to change it to point of sale Luan lending. There's only so many people on the planet that will enjoy this moment. Okay.
Luan, Loan, is a Vietnamese name, and I am half Vietnamese. Put it together.
Put it together. Figure it out. Asian excellence. Okay. What advice would you give your younger self as a founder?
Trust your instincts. Like if you have an idea, go with it.
Yeah.
I came up with the idea, I kid you not, at 23 in San Francisco for YouTube. Before YouTube came.
Damn,
I mean
Luan.
it. Like, I know.
It could be called LawnTube.
I know.
We're missing a lot of
I know. And I have like 10 others. And then like 10 years later, they're there. And I'm like, finally, when I was like 28, I'm like, maybe I should just go with the idea that pops in my head and stay with it.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I feel very similarly about YouTube because I'm like, damn, I should have started a YouTube show a lot earlier in my career. But we're here now. We're doing YouTube now. That's what this is.
Yes.
That's what this is. Okay. For a founder listening right now who's building something the market doesn't quite want or understand yet, what would you want them to know?
I said earlier, if the math is there, if the maths, then stick with it, because and it has to be logical. I mean, and so it's kind of like if you've ever gone to a psychic.
I have.
Asians do. Yuck. How do you think we survive? No, but a psychic
It's tarot cards.
Yes, but a good psychic will tell you. I'm going to tell you the future. I'm just not going to tell you when it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like I could be 5 years from now. It could be 50 years from now, right? We don't see that.
Right. Right.
So that's kind of how it is in founding a company, right? If you've got an idea and it's clear that there's a need for it, and talked about there's that gap and technology, and you have the intelligence and expertise to fill it, stay with it, because the market will come around. It's not an if. So it's just a matter of how long can you hang in there and how big can it be when you're done.
I love it. Okay. These ones will be fast. So first thing that comes to mind, first instinct, coffee or tea? How do you take it?
I have a half a cup of coffee every day with milk and sugar, and then it's tea. Gray tea, green tea, honey.
Good. I like that. Best career advice you've ever received?
I would say be honest in business. Have integrity, do the right thing. And again, as an Asian, karma. You do good. And Asia said it on the stage the other night. Yeah. I live my life exactly like this, because this is what my mother said. You give back and it'll come back.
Right.
So for me, it's really about character, in business.
I like that a lot, especially as Fintech FM scales. I see a lot more of the sleaziness that can happen in the sales cycle. Yeah. And I'm like, nah, I genuinely want all of us to get our bag out of this in a good way.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited.
Yeah. And give. I give. I'm very generous with everything,
Yeah. Be honest, give.
Yeah. And then it'll come back to you tenfold.
I mean, I am with it. Okay, your favorite Vietnamese restaurant in New York City. This is a personal question for me.
Okay. I'm a downtown girl. Pho Grand in Chinatown. Yeah? Right? Okay. Pho Grand.
Okay, I'm glad that's the one, because that's where I've been eating. The way our whole team said, Pho Grand. Pho Grand. We love Pho Grand. Brooklyn Mama Pho. When I was in high school, Mama Pho is not as good.
Williamsburg, yeah.
When I was, she said, no.
I'll let you finish.
When I was in, she's like, who's Vietnamese here? When I was in,
is it your question or my question? Okay. Go ahead.
Anyways, I worked at a Vietnamese restaurant throughout high school, and that's how I got my high school bag. And learned how to carry very warm bowls of soup.
Yeah.
It strengthened my hands greatly. But that place was called I Heart Pho.
There's a lot. Yeah,
all of the different
Vietnamese in Texas.
Yeah, exactly. So cool. We didn't talk about Texas, but that's another podcast because we have to stop this. Okay, a fintech trend you're watching closely.
Again, AI and embedded.
One habit or mindset that makes you a better CEO.
Remembering to be humble, of course, but remembering that the only reason why I'm here is because of my team, our investors, my family, but that I'm here in this role to really serve them. They depend on me, and I wake up with that. Yeah, I'm just another team member that has a little bit more on my shoulders.
That's same. What's something people completely misunderstand about building companies?
I don't think that people really appreciate the fact that you actually have to generate revenue. Really?
Yo.
people want to start a company, do something that's interesting and fun, but it is hard to be like, ask for money for your idea, right? That's probably that's why like that first million is the hardest, or the first 100,000 or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think that people don't truly recognize how hard that is, to like go from idea, a product, and then now asking someone, and you have to price it. You built something that no one has ever done before, right?
So now you're like, how do I even price this thing?
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What's one lesson about building companies that only founders who've done it multiple times would really understand?
That you can't do it alone. Cannot do it alone. Like you got to find a founder and some more people that love you and you love and trust, even if they don't, nobody knows what they're doing, but you have the right values, same values. Yeah, I mean, I've always known that, but a lot of people don't really appreciate that. But certainly, multiple founders know. I mean, they know that.
What's a hill you're willing to die on when it comes to building a business?
People. I keep going back to people, and being loyal to them, being good to them, having a place that's fun, because this is their lives too. And the older, I've been hardcore my whole life.
Yeah.
My hardcore switches as I get older to being a different kind of hardcore, maybe I'm more encouraging people to like take a vacation every once in a while, versus not seeing their family and working so hard. So, but yeah.
I love it.
People,
profitability, women in fintech.
Yes.
Springboard, our cohort that we're building together.
Yes.
I know. I've somehow gotten my way into building with Luan Cox. So
it's my honor to build with you.
It is my honor. All right, that does it for the Love Fest.
Let's go have some fun.
I know. Let's go have some fun.
Not at Mama Pho.
I know. We're gonna go to Pho Grand. Damn. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this episode of Humans of Fintech. If you love this, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And thank you so much to Luan Cox for joining us and sharing her favorite Fintech Rex and Pho Rex. We will be seeing you with the warm noodle bowls around New York City. Thank you.
Good.
Gorgeous. Okay. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Humans of Fintech. If you loved this and want to hear more from leaders across the fintech industry, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That is Fintech is Fem. And be sure to sign up for the Fintech is Fem newsletter, which you can do at fintechisfem.co. See you next time.